It's your favorite podcaster of all time. We got to talk about Attack on Titan and the meaning of the rumbling. See, everybody's like, "Oh, cool, giant titans, they're rumbling." And it. No, bro, you got to look at the deeper meaning. See, a lot of people they like looking at the surface things. The surface things are cool. Don't get me wrong, surface things are cool, but I like to see the deepness. How far does it go? What does it mean? Because you got to understand, stories comes from somebody's brain. And it came from deep in somebody's brain because they got to think really heavily about that. Because one of the things about writing fictional stories is that you're betting the house all this time and energy on the idea that I'm going to tell you something that has no actual like monetary value to you. Like, and when I say that, like when you write a nonfiction book, like say you write a business book, the idea is to make you some money. If you write a relationship book, it's the idea to help you get a relationship. If you write a book about health, it's the idea to get you healthy. But when you look at fiction, the actual idea of fiction, there is no actual like thing you can take away to apply it into the real world. It's merely a story. So if you're telling a story, it better be a goddamn good one because I'm trading my time, my precious time, to read something that does not exist in reality or nothing I can actually do within reality. So the idea that you better make a very good story. And the only way to make a really good story is to go deep. You got to really touch people's in their soul, like where it fucking makes them almost cry. That's the only way to have a really great story. So with the rumbling, when I was really sitting back and examining it, what the rumbling means, like as metaphorically, is like the overspill of like bad shit finally coming to a opening to the point where now we have to make it like now we're in an inevitable tidal wave of like suffering that has to come. And see, that's what happened in Attack on Titan. There was so much fighting. They fight for all these fucking years, war, killing people, saying motherfuckers to be titans, just treating other humans like shit, just saying fuck you, humanity. We don't give a fuck about you. And it got to the point where Eren says, this is the only way to solve it, is that I had to just pretty much kill everything. And that's what's so deep about it. That's what's so sad about it when you really think about it metaphorically. Because what the walls represented was like the safety, the illusion of safety that people thought of. And that's kind of what we're going through in America. We have this illusion of safety. But we're very much closing in on our own rumbling, our own real rumbling of life where things are now starting to come to a head where there's going to be a breaking point. When that shit breaks, here comes the real rumbling. And then we're going to be forced to fucking really deal with all the bullshit we didn't want to fix when we had a chance to fix it. But now it's too late now. Now it's already here. And so that's really a story of humanity. Humans, for some reason, we like to wait until the last minute to do some shit. And it really causes us so much suffering because we don't listen to the smart people saying, hey, stop, listen, stop. We got to stop doing this. It's going to fuck us up. Stop. And because we keep like not stopping, eventually the smart people are just like, well, fuck it, man. Let me go ahead and sit back and prepare because I know some dumb shit's about to happen. And that's typically what happens to most people for the most part is that like we wait until the last minute and then by then it's too late. And then we got to deal with the real harshness of reality. And that's what the rumbling represented. Eren wanted freedom. But once he saw what freedom really was, which is when you want freedom, the exchange for freedom is peace. You don't get to have peace and freedom. It doesn't exist in the same world. So there's like a balance. The more free you are, the less peace you're gonna have. It's just the way the life goes. Like if you learn this as an entrepreneur, what your training is, you get unlimited freedom, 24/7 to do whatever you need to do to try to make sure you can survive. And that's not peaceful. You're putting out fires all day. That's all you're doing. And the higher you go, the more fires you got to put out. And that's what every entrepreneur would tell you. Like when you get higher up in levels, you start doing more money. It doesn't get easier. You just got bigger problems to solve. And you're still the same human being, but you got to rely on your instincts and your ability to problem solve to be able to get you through that. And so when Eren realized, when he was able to achieve freedom and when he really realized that, okay, I can travel, do whatever I want to do. I can go across the seas. I can stay back, whatever. He saw, oh my God, this is even worse than I thought. I thought if I solved everything, it'd be fixed. Or if I got free, we were able to go beyond the walls, we'll be free finally. No, you will not be free. There's actually some people on the other side that are looking to fucking do you harm. And when you're left with that consequences where on the other side of freedom is war, what do you do? Do you wait for war to come to you, or do you bring war to you, or do you bring the war to them? And that's the sad tragedy of like humanity, and really just the sad tragedy of life, because it really is unavoidable, because it's kind of just the mechanism that makes life be what it is. And we all have to suffer with this to some degree, because we want to be peaceful. We want peace, but we don't want to be all, we want to have freedom too. And you can't have that. It's an oxymoron. It's a paradox. That paradox can't be solved. And what Eren realized was, well, I might not make it through it, but I will make sure my friends at least have the best chance and opportunity to be able to have freedom and peace. And when you look at the end of the story, what happens is like Eldia ends up being his own island, and then the island ends up growing, it gets bombed, and it blows up, and then it gets in, and the cycle continues. And that's the deeper metaphor of the rumbling, which is like the cycle never stop. We try our best to make it stop. The smartest of humans have done everything they can, but we're inevitably just foolish creatures. We're foolish creatures, and war is inevitable. But with war comes peace at the end of it. And that's usually like the bright side of it. So if we're going through a war, if you're going through a war, if you're fighting through something, understand, keep fighting, because at the end of the day, there will be peace for you. And then understand, if you're in peace, prepare for war, because war would inevitably come your way. And that really is the larger metaphor of life, man. Just understand. Everybody has a rumbling that's coming their way. At some point, either you're going to be aware of it or you're not going to be aware of it. But it's best to prepare yourself and assume that the rumbling will come, and simply just acknowledge that and try to live the best life you can while you're here. And enjoy the people that you got, because you never know when giant tides will come on and stomp on the rest of all Earth and end us all, and we'll all be stuck with living in Eldia or something like that. Peace.